The second Wyvern Excidium raid is here, and I want to go through the 1202 target to figure out if I have enough evade on my Wyvern. But before I do that, there's a very important setting that I need to check first, and you will need to as well if you're playing along at home. Go ahead and turn on projectile explosions and particle effects. This is important to see the shockwave from the radioactive turret, which can do a pretty crazy amount of radioactive damage if it ever gets a shockwave off. Now, there are a few ways to avoid getting a shockwave off from this guy, and I suppose I should show you the turret. It's over here on the left, and there are several of those, but it's this one right here. If you get hit by more than one at once, or get hit by more than one volley for one turret, you're probably doing something wrong. And if you do that and are just a little bit unlucky, or in general, if you're very unlucky, you can get a shockwave from this turret. Everything else is not too crazy. There is the very short range guy right here. Make sure you stay out of range of those ones. There's also the mines that put out a piss missile or yellow snow. Make sure you don't go into that and you'll be okay. Now, there is a few tricky things, or are a few tricky things for the target. There are several long-range turrets, which make you want to get into minimum range quickly, but don't get into too low of a range, otherwise this short-range guy will hit you. And also, make sure that you don't go into the firing arc of the throwers, otherwise they'll shoot at you, and there's no reason for them to do that. You can kind of show multiple arcs at the same time by shift-clicking one turret and hovering over a few others. Make sure when you're killing one turret cluster island, you're not going too close to the second island, or they will also start to shoot at you, which is bad news. Okay, so go ahead and go on the far left of this turret cluster. Here's the radioactive guy shooting at you. Get close to him and kill him quickly. He did get the start of a second volley off, which could be reduced if I close the distance faster. Here's a glitch, by the way. This turret's actually dead. Could be reduced if I close the distance faster, or I was doing more damage to kill him but more quickly. Here's a few thrower turrets, not too worried about these guys. Just get into the minimum range without going into range of everyone else on the other islands. Interesting thing right here, there's a radioactive guy on the top left. I kind of want to hit this one, but there's no good path to do that, so we'll have to come back to him at the end. Turret cluster of 3 on the bottom, not too worried about. There is one radioactive, but we're going to see if we can't go out of range of the javelins while hitting the guys on the top left here, which should be possible. Out of range of the short range, killing the radioactive one. He does get a second volley off, but it doesn't seem to matter. I evaded enough of those that I was fine. Okay, go ahead and click the radioactive, do some damage to him, and you should be set with no one else around you. Just zooming out to confirm, and that's true. At the very bottom, there's a few things, but again, not too worried about those. There is a thrower. Again, just stay out of range of him and you'll be okay. Short range guy, that should be basically 0 damage from that turret cluster. Now, there are some mines. If you did bull rush the throwers on the top, it does lead you to go around, which is a little nicer. Unfortunately, the mines are in the other spot, which means you have to time it. They come in sets of 2s, so after the second one dies, you can kind of charge in here. It's just timing the gates. Keeping in mind that they're coming in 2s and not 1s is generally pretty helpful, because I don't have to try and time the gap between the first and the second. I time the gap between the second and the next first. Once you kill the Great Hall, the mine platform unlocks, and now we can focus in on the rest of the target. There's a radioactive guy. Again, click on this one and kill him. Get into minimum range of the other ones and you'll be fine. Don't go too far or you'll be in range of the javelin over here. By the time you want to, you just get inside its minimum range and click on the radioactive one. And if you finish this target with no shockwaves on your ship and have the projectile effects turned on, you will very likely have under 5 minutes of repair. I've also just realized I did the entire target zoomed in a little bit too far, so I apologize about that, but this was my second run on this target and a pretty good one, so I think I'm going to keep it. The damage here is 6% resisted and taken when you sum those up, which is quite low. 6% for the ballistic one as well, which means I have a pretty even damage taken. Repair time here is 11 minutes, so not quite that 5 minutes I was hoping I could do, but still very, very good. If I did this a few more times, you can see I only have 1.3 million points. That is 2 of the lower set or lower targets, and then one or two of the 1202s. So I haven't hit like a billion of these and just showed you my lowest time. This was the second time I hit this target, trying to show you a real run with real strategies that are consistent. Here's the build for the Wyvern. It is available in the build stock below. I did get lucky enough to get the captain, so I do have him on at the very bottom. As you can see there, he can only go in slot 1. I'll be making a raid recap video that does go over some builds and what captain you should use, some stuff like that. And again, just a regular Sea Serpents crew. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. With that said, I want to give a huge thank you to the channel members whose names are appearing on the end screen now. They'll help me make videos like this one, the third one released today, the first day of the raid, possible. And until next time, this is Derpy signing out, helping you be a better pirate.